to wrap up what we talked about in those 3 breakout sessions. So we're gonna listen to the results of the breakout section, and each facilitator is gonna have a chance to share a couple of sentences and their takeaways from the breakout session. So without further ado, I would like to welcome back in President Wes Lundberg. Wes?
Thank you, Steve. And as described, this is a point where in one of the earlier sessions, Pablo talked about 2 ears and 1 mouth. This is a part where I did a lot of mouth stuff earlier. This is going to be ear part on my part. So my role now is facilitator for this portion of the discussion. And this is where the intention is really to pull back together and find out what happened in the breakout session. So there's a piece of report out, I suppose, but the intention there is to prompt discussion. So I think what we'll do is we'll start with the 2 sentences, as Steve said, from each of the sessions, and then we'll open it up for discussion. And I believe Malia is watching for hands. So as those come up, if appropriate, Malia, just pop in with those, and we can go from there. So let's start with breakout session 1 was on equity on campus, excuse me. I guess before I do this, I should say that I popped around into all 3 sessions for little portions here and there, and fantastic discussion and great job by the facilitators. Thank you. But this one was led by Laura Gonzalez and Nisa Julian. So Laura and Nisa, would you like to give us 2 sentences roughly to summarize what happened in your session, or whatever it is that you would like to give to the larger group?
Great. President Lundberg, you provided a segue from your opening comments to lead into our opening session, but we engaged in some really meaningful conversations around equity on campus. We shared about how we both foster a culture of equity in our practice, and also opportunities for us as a campus community to deepen our commitment to equity and supporting our students through equity-minded practices. And we're looking forward to continuing on in the conversation and action.
Okay, Laura, anything to add to that?
I think that Nisa summarized it very well.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any burning questions or comments? We'll circle back around to it if not, but just want to give that opportunity if it's there. Okay, session 2 was who are our students and what are their needs? And that was led by Monica Demko, Shi Zheng, and Clarissa Padilla. So I don't know if you have a spokesperson, or if all of you would like to present, that would be great.
This is Monica. I'll go ahead and chime in. So in our session, we talked about the changing demographics and increased diversity on our campus, and how that really elicits innovative and equity-minded practices. We also discussed some of our student needs, how the pandemic has really heightened the challenges and inequities our students are facing. And we discussed the opportunity that we have this year to just listen to our students, learn more about their needs, and focus on developing practices that help them succeed. We had great conversation and great, the chat was wonderful in terms of some ideas and collaboration and what instruction are doing in the classroom, faculty are doing in the classroom, departments are doing in their areas to help support that. So I think it was a great beginning of the conversation, and I'm excited to continue this.
Thank you, Monica. And yeah, it is. I just want to underscore it's the beginning of conversation. Thank you for framing it that way. She or Clarissa, anything to add?
No, Monica summarized it well. Thank you.
I just want to highlight that a significant portion of our discussion was focusing on the rapid growth of our Latinx student population. And as we grow, continue to grow, and are an emerging HSI, just focusing on our activities within the classroom and outside the classroom to better support those students' needs.
Great, thank you, Clarissa. Are there any burning questions or comments?
Can I have a question, because this came up multiple times on the chat, is regarding our status as an HSI. Would we be able to get some information, because multiple people were asking about that?
Our status as
a Hispanic serving institution. Adrian may be able to provide some insight on where we are on that.
Adrian, are you on?
I am. So I want to say mid-spring, we submitted some materials to ask for a waiver. One of the criteria to be a HSI is you have to have certain financial need among your students, and we didn't quite meet that standard. So we submitted documents for a waiver on that standard. We have not heard back officially. We've been trying to track that down, but we've noticed that we're listed on various lists at the federal level as an HSI. We were certainly an emerging HSI. We knew that before. So we're just trying to get confirmation that we are an official HSI. And for those that don't know, HSI is a Hispanic Serving Institution. You have to have at least 25% of your students being part of the Hispanic population, and then you have to meet certain financial need criteria.
Thank you, Adrian. Okay, the third session was on, oh, go ahead, somebody popping in? No, someone bumping a mic or something then. Breakout session 3 was on communication and collaborations strategies. How do we share the space? That was facilitated by Ben Gamboa, Marian Edelbrock, and Pablo Martin.
I'll jump in first, and we laid the foundation to have open, honest conversations where everyone felt welcome or could feel welcome to discuss what has happened, what has occurred at Miramar, and how we're going to move forward, and how we are going to challenge ourselves personally as well as others on campus to be better and to treat each other with respect and accountability.
I'll just add in to get involved. I think that was a takeaway for me, which is want to difference, want to change, want to grow, be part of that movement.
For me, I'll just say it was a great session. I was really pleased with all the interaction, all the shares people did. The chat was really active. And it's just so nice to see from someone who's worried that some folks want to move on. Let's just forget about the past. It seems, I was really happy to see a lot of people say, no, let's heal while we move forward. And I was also really inspired. I do really feel Miramar's got a wonderful future ahead of it. We have so many great people and things going on here, and it feels like we're really ready. And that session, I was really overcome with that awareness that we're on the threshold of becoming, I think, what our mission statement claims that we are or will be. So that's just all I'd say. And thanks to everyone who participated. It was wonderful.
And thank you all for facilitating. You know, one of the takeaways I had in that third session was, and I picked it up in pieces in the earlier, the other two as well. You know, looking for true participation or ability to participate. And, you know, I can't remember who said it, but somebody expressed that, you know, it's frustrating to be a voice at a table and then be told you're heard and then not see anything come of it. And yeah, this was in the context of micromanagement or some, you know, context where micromanagement seemed to be dominant. And and so the feeling was that there's a lack of respect from leadership, those of us in administrative leadership roles, to hear everybody, and that encourages people, or maybe the right way of saying it is discourages people from participating over time. And I think that's valid, that's legitimate. And, you know, so we will be, to the extent that I and the VPs and deans are able, we will cultivate participation, genuine participation, because it's the best way for things to happen. You know, I've shared with many that it can be messy, it can be time consuming, it takes patience. But you know what, I guess you could probably relate. Most of the really great things in my life have come from patience and waiting and sifting through sometimes difficult things. And then when you get past that and you're on the other side, it's amazing, and it's solid and lasting. So let's take that time and let's open our ears, and let's cultivate with each other that kind of trust that we can move forward and become a truly phenomenal institution. And with that, I'll just be quiet. I keep saying I'm going to be quiet, and then I don't, so I'm sorry. But let me just turn it over to whoever may have their hands up. I can't see if hands are up. Malia, would you like to call on folks?
Adrian Aranceva.
So I would like to give a lot of props to Brett in our breakout session. It was really, it was helpful and really wonderful to see you say, hey, we've never been tasked to look at it like that. And you started seeing the intersections with Marsha. And now I was on the sabbatical, and I feel like so weird. I missed something really, really special last semester, you know? And seeing the campus go through a transformation, and it was difficult during that time period, and but before, I should say. But I want to say to you, Brett, when you spoke today, it really moved me, because I think it's important for us to accept, you know, the fact that we recognize that many of us maybe did things or didn't do things on a preset way of thinking, or we're acting under directions of somebody else. And I just really appreciate your earnestness and your authenticity in saying that. I think somebody brought it up in the meeting, but I'm going to say that to you as at the level of the whole campus. But that's what we need to do in order to move forward. And I just want to say thank you to you and give you that credit.
Thank you, Adrian, for that. And that's, yeah, ditto. Malia, any other hands?
I don't see any.
Thoughts from your sessions that you were in, things that you think, and feel free to speak on you know, behalf of the group. If you feel a little bit unsafe, that's a great strategy, is to say, you know, one thing we talked about, and then not necessarily say it's you or your opinion, but you're representing. The old, I'm asking for a friend. So if you feel unsafe at all, that's one strategy you can use. I would encourage you not to be silent if there's something that you want to say, but you just feel a little nervous about saying it. You know, feel free to cast it that way. Maybe that'll help.
Larry.
Thanks. I was in breakout session number 3. I really liked it. I thought it was very introspective. I thought that the discussion was honest, and it was hard. And Wes, I appreciate you being there for a good part of that discussion. We talked a lot about trust. We talked a lot about moving forward. And I guess what I'd like to say is, for the first time in a long time, I'm very optimistic about the future of Miramar College. And I look forward to the future of Miramar College and my place in it. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I'm sure I will. And I just kind of wanted to say that. It's very important to me. So thanks.
I just quickly want to affirm something that you said there, your role in it. And, you know, everybody, please cast whatever you've heard today and whatever outcomes we have, cast it the same way. What is your role in it? Malia?
Laura Murphy.
Thank you. I think the thing that stood out to me, other than just the willingness of people to share and be open about the past trauma and what it's going to take to heal and move forward, is really, as we look to the past, at some concrete things that happened that we can actually change to do better in the future. I'm still very struck by the need for a very clear and comprehensive understanding of how decision-making works on our campus, and changing it in any ways that we need to fit what we want as a community. Because it's, for me, I think a lot of the pain that we suffered came from either confusing processes or not following processes. And as somebody who's really going to try very hard this semester to help move our governance restructure forward, I really want to encourage everybody to be a part of that, because I think the more you're engaged in that process, the more you contribute to it. When we all have a common understanding and we're all working from a common place, all these other discussions and all this work that we really want to focus on with equity and with student success is going to be much easier to move forward. So that's what I was struck by.
Judy.
Judy, you're muted.
You're muted, Judy.
Okay, sorry about that. I was in session 3 as well, and Pablo read a quote by Paulo Freire. I want to read another quote by Paulo Freire that also talks about the role, because that's what we are addressing right now. I think one of the things that we addressed in 3 is just some of the trauma that we have had at Miramar, and being in a place that has been oppressive over the years. So this is a quote by Paulo Freire. "It is absolutely essential that the oppressed participate in the revolutionary process with an increasingly critical awareness of their role as subjects of the transformation." So, thank you all.
Judy, can you put that in the chat box perhaps? I know it's lengthy, but if you don't mind, yeah.
Wheeler.
Hi, yeah, so you guys are probably all aware that I'm going to say the same thing I always say, and at this point I'm still saying it. This is my last semester as a full-time employee here. I've got no skin in the game, but I'm going to tell you from a long time, a lot of experience in working not only in our district but across the entire state of California with every other community college district. We're in a large multi-college district, and that inherently creates a lot of dysfunction about which we have very little control over. If you look at the entire district's budget and the amount of budget that we at Miramar get, and then the amount of budget that we actually can make choices about, it's a very, very small number. The rest of that resource allocation happens to us. And so I would just want to make sure that we keep it on our page, or keep it sort of right in the front and center, that the more we can work together as a team, loyal to the students of Miramar College, the more we can help each other, not only advocating amongst ourselves and sharing our resources in a way that benefit all of our students, because frankly, my students are your students. My students are in your classes, and your students are in my classes. But again, it really comes down to us as a team working to help improve district processes, to help improve and inform district decision making, and as well to support those of us that have the opportunity, like Constance mentioned with Pam Luster, to get up into the state ranks of decision making. I highly encourage you guys to look for those opportunities. We have wonderful opportunities in our union and Faculty Association for California Community Colleges, as well as the Academic Senate for Community Colleges, as well as our administrative bodies such as CCLC, ACA, CCC, AOE, a number of great organizations that do a lot of work to improve the decisions that are made that affect us greatly. Many of the pandemic decisions that occurred out of our chancellor's office today or this last few months were influenced because some of us stepped up, got involved in the webinars, and helped us sort through some of that. So I'm going to strongly encourage that we work together as a team and that we support each other to make sure that we are very active in getting Miramar College staff, faculty, and administrators in those key decision-making processes that influence us from above. Thank you.
Monica?
Thank you, Malia. You know, I haven't been at Miramar College for very long. I'm just starting my third year now. But one thing that I want to say is, you know, we have wonderful people at Miramar, and in my transition from Mesa to Miramar, one of the things that I've noticed is that sometimes at Miramar, we get really caught up in the processes, and we sometimes, and the way things have been done, and sometimes we forget to focus on the student experience and how those processes really may cause barriers for our students. And so as we go through this change and really understanding our new campus culture and how to collaborate and work as a unit, keeping the student experience in the forefront as well as equity.
I keep thinking about a short little phrase that Wheeler used, loyal to our students. Malia, do we have any other hands?
I don't see any.
Okay, last call before we move on to another activity. It's funny, you know, as I use that term, it implies that this is your last chance, and it's not. This is the beginning. So any thoughts, things that you're processing? I think probably the majority of people tend to need some time to process things before they speak out. And there's space for that as well. So, so we can come back if there's no other comments. Any hands going up there, Malia?
Still none. Okay.
So we're going to move on to something that's kind of fun. I don't know, Malia, if this was your idea, whose idea this was, but I love it. We're going to do a word cloud. So Malia, I'm going to turn it over to you to explain how that works and what we're going to do.
Okay, so Laura Gonzalez, this was her idea actually, but we wanted to make this a very collaborative and engaging convocation and not have it be where, you know, we talk at everyone for 3 or 4 hours. So the idea was to do a word cloud based on the conversation of equity at Miramar College. So I'm going to put the link in the chat box, and I'm going to share my screen. So you can either go to the link and start typing in words that you can think of, or you can put them in the chat box and I will enter them too.
So the idea of a word cloud, as everybody knows, is we'll get an image that the larger and most emboldened words will be the ones that are most common. And we'll see what this looks like. And when Malia is able to pop back on, maybe she can tell us what our time frame is. But you know, I have to say, if there's one thing that we have learned from COVID-19, it's to be patient with children. So they're popping into meetings all the time, aren't they? It's awesome. So.
Wes, could you ask the question again so we know what the prompt is?
I don't know that she read one. What we wanted to do was capture words that spring to mind. It can be anything from the breakout session or conversations that we've had. Of course, probably around the theme of equity, but we can go beyond that too. So is that helpful?
Yes, that was helpful.
If there's anyone who was part of organizing this, I'm going to be giving those folks a shout out at the end of the session too. But if there was anything in particular, oh, Clarissa put something in there, a word to reflect your experiences today in your breakout session. That works good. Thank you, Clarissa.
No problem.
Malia, did we have a time frame that we were working with here?
Maybe about 5 or 10 minutes. You can start putting words in the chat too, and I can type them in. I'm not sure if the link is working for everyone.
Okay. Maybe as folks are doing that, maybe it would be, I just think of 5 minutes of silence is a little long. Maybe this is a good time to, but I do think that 5 minutes is a reasonable time. I didn't mean to imply that it wasn't. I think that maybe we could have conversations as folks would like. I will try to, because I know Malia is busy with the chat. Let me get participants up here and I can see folks now. So I will watch for hands if you would like to say something. Anything at all, thoughts? If for no other reason to keep me from talking.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question. This is Tanya.
Yeah, please.
So would you like us just to put one word in there, or there's a couple of things that are coming to mind? So
I think once you hit submit, I just did it. Once you hit submit, it goes blank, so you can submit multiple words. keep dumping them in there.
Great, thank you.
I didn't catch the name of the person with the title Convocation 25.
Wes, it's me, Larry.
Oh, Larry, good. Okay, very good.
I typed in several words, but the three that I would just like to share was I typed in honesty, trust, and love.
Good. Do you want to elaborate?
No, I think
Okay.
I don't want to be doing any talking.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Anybody else? Larry, could you take your hand down so we know that that way if you want to pipe in again, we'll notice. Thank you. Anybody else?
Malia, it may be that you need to somehow approve each of the words that are getting sent in. Something answer will be hidden until approved, but I'm not quite sure how you do that. I never used this tool.
Channing. Channing, if you're talking, you're probably, oh, it doesn't look like you're muted. You've got the floor, Channing.
Hi, Malia. It's Denise Meduli-Williams. You do have it set to be hidden until approved. So if you scroll down to moderate and then approve the hidden, a little bit lower. Or there you go.
Thank you.
Sure.
So look at that. Do we still have words coming in, Malia?
Yes, are they popping up? Because I see a bunch on my end.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Okay, great.
And are you approving those as they come in?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't see scotch.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay. Any thoughts as you see these words popping up to everybody?
I have a thought. I see that there's a lot of inclusivity. That it's the same word, just a little different. I think that if those were combined, that would probably be the largest.
Yeah, and front and center is justice. I'm not sure I would have predicted that. That's awesome, though. Laura has her hand up.
Just seeing this word cloud, this is a moment that I actually never thought I would see at Miramar. It's very moving for me personally. This is not a conversation I actually ever thought that we would have as a school all together. So I feel a great sense of relief and hope for our future.
Thank you, Laura. It's heartfelt. Thank you. And Laura, would you take your hand down unless you want to say something else, just so that I can track? And Marie, you had your hand up earlier. Did you still want to speak?
All I was trying to do was help with I love seeing how it comes up. So I was just trying to help. So then I put my hand down because Denise took care of that.
Got it. I just wanted to make sure that you you had your moment in the space. So,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep. Channing, please. Channing,
Channing mentioned in the chat that he had Wi-Fi problems.
Oh, okay, got it.
So I
Can
think
someone read the chat then? That he? Oh, maybe I can. I've got it here. Maybe I have it. There it is. No, it's all Wi-Fi comments. And thank you for calling that to my attention. Where is his comment or question?
I think he's working on typing it.
Oh, okay. We're waiting for you, Channing. Take your time. Malia, is the word cloud being updated automatically? Aside from you clicking and approving?
You have to, so if you're on it on your local browser, you have to click refresh. And then as she's clicking and approving each one of these, your local browser will then refresh.
Well, it would be her browser then, because we're all just viewing hers, right?
Yeah, so I can,
Where you, when you went to your local browser from that link to submit the words, if you hit refresh, it then starts showing up in that screen.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay. Good. Thank you, Wheeler. I just have to come back to the fact that Justice has 13 on my last refresh anyway. And that's by far the next runner-up is Honesty. Any thoughts about that?
I'll chime in there. It's refreshing to me. It seems like there's a need. I'm not the only one that thinks there's a need for both of those things here at Miramar, or to see more of it. So I'm feeling very inspired and hopeful.
There's certainly something to be said just for affirmation. You know, if nothing else, and this is a piece of what I heard you saying, just seeing this up there from so many different people, because we have 107 still, and we were higher than that a little bit ago. It really is, to Laura's framing of it earlier, it's powerful. You know, it's powerful to see that. Justice, honesty, inclusion are the ones that are standing out the most. Any other thoughts?
When I look at this, it seems like so many of the words are related to the climate, right? To the culture and the environment that we have on our campus, and this sort of sense of hope that there's going to be more opportunity for to be inclusive and feel represented, to have an honest and transparent environment and conversation.
And if you actually, inclusion and inclusive are really the same concept, and that's 9 if you put those together. So that's the next highest. Justice, inclusion, honesty. Anybody else with thoughts, you can just jump in.
Channing?
Channing has the comment, to listen means we listen to what we don't think we need to listen to. Well said. People prejudge whether something should be listened to, so they never get to actually listening. Emails, for example, some are being skipped because of presumptions of poor importance, yet many are critical for campus discussions and awareness. That's absolutely true. And you know, an example that was shared in one of the sessions that as I was listening in was people on committees that are members of committees and clearly did not read the materials that were sent out in preparation for meetings. You know, I've been guilty of that. I, you know, do my best not to do that, but it happens. And, you know, I need to make darn sure I'm prepared for every meeting. So thank you, Channing.
Marie?
Thanks. I wanted to kind of connect to what Channing was saying, and not just emails, but people who raise their hands. A lot of us have, I think one of the beneficial things could be that we shed the preconceptions that we have of one another, because that's part of rebuilding relationships, is to attempt to reestablish better relationships. I know if I raise my hand, someone's going to go, oh, not her again. And I understand that. At the same time, I think we really need to, and I've heard a lot of other people say this, intentionally desire to improve and engage with people, even if we have those kind of former ideas of them. I just to listen with new ears, maybe, because I think that will help us as we try to collaborate and be honest with one another. I just know that as being part of things, you get kind of pigeonholed, and maybe we can reinvent each other. That's all.
You know, Marie, I think that's a fair comment. And what I would say, I'm just going to kind of reprocess a little bit of what I heard you saying in this way. People speak within a context, and they function within a context. The context, I think we would agree, has changed at Miramar. So, you know, it's important to be mindful of that. I guess borrowing the way that you were just presenting that, you may have heard someone speaking in the past and you may have preconceptions with that, but be mindful that that was spoken and they behaved in a way within a certain context, and give them a chance, is what I'm hearing you say, to represent themselves.
Very nice. Thank you.
Wheeler?
Let me lower my hand here. So I think one of the ideas that's been running through my mind the last few weeks is, with respect to the pandemic, we've reacted mostly, and I think we've all reacted with a fair amount of decision making based on the idea that what's happening to us is a transient condition. And I think we've been in this long enough to where we're going to have to start accepting the idea that who and what we are is being changed forever. And that has some pretty profound implications for us. It means changes in how we allocate resources. It means changes in how we serve students. It means sort of some very high level and some very sort of low level nuanced practical changes that I think at some point in this semester, we're going to have to start sorting out and be sort of, I think the word is intentional about, all right, here are some of the things we're never going to be able to do again. Here are some of the things that if we do, we're going to need, we're going to continue to do, we're going to need to dedicate resources to that. Just for example, the simple act of checking students into our classes requires staffing. If we're still doing a hard to convert class, that requires a resource. That's an example that we can hopefully say will be transient, but who knows, it may not be. And so I do think in the next semester or two, we're going to start having to make some more long-term decisions about how the impact of the pandemic has changed us. Thank you.
Thank you, Wheeler. Do you have to go at the end of the semester, by the way?
I'm getting old and tired, but I'm not going anywhere. I'll always be around. I'm coming back pro rata, so.
Well, please keep participating. Really value what you're saying. Dr. Leslie Pearson said in the chat, the word justice is not used as regularly as equity and equality. I hope that the word and actions toward creating a just learning community will be the new normal at Miramar and the country, by the way. So thank you for that. Good input. Yeah, you know, just quick reaction to that. Justice, in my mind, is very much an action word, where the others allow some being passive.
Yes. It's a call to action in and of itself, the word. It's exciting, and we can make it the norm.
Well said.
Ben and then Channing.
So I've been sitting with the word justice, really proud of us to actually have justice front and center. I'm absolutely in love with it. But as I think of the word justice, and I think of where we find ourselves as a country, what really sticks out to me is that justice is a word that's used a lot in religious communities, especially churches that serve communities of color. And another important word that I'm going to take to heart, I'm not asking anybody else to do this, but something that I will personally practice that is out of those faiths and those practices is the word forgiveness. And I think it goes a little bit to what Marie talked about earlier, where, you know, we walk in with a lot of, I'm just gonna, my own personal issues and my own thoughts. And if I practice forgiveness, I will be better, and I will be able to do better for the family, the Miramar family. So I'm committing myself to bringing forgiveness right at the forefront with justice.
Thank you, Ben. Excellent. There was somebody lined up after Ben. I can't remember who.
That was me, and I think I fixed my mic finally.
Hi, Channing.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes.
Yay, yay. That's why audio production and engineering is important, right? You got to fix those mics. So I just wanted to bring up something, and that is, in the past, since we're talking about this new paradigm, this new future, in the past, we were very compartmentalized. We were tribal in our different schools and in our different programs, because we were fighting for limited resources. And I just wanted to bring up this concept of, if we are really thinking of everybody as a team here and everybody's programs, and I mean, I would never say we don't need math. I would never say we don't need science. But I have to say that some people have the perspective of, why do we need music? Why do we need art? And, you know, it kills us on this side, because the people that know, have studied, we really do understand why we need art. And we felt, you know, in the past that, you know, other programs were, I don't know, considering us fluff maybe, rather than as just as important as math, English, and etc. So I'd really like to bring the community of everybody here together to say, yeah, all our programs are deserving of attention, because they all serve our students in different ways and really affect those students' lives. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Channing. Just reaction, just for me personally. Why do we need music? Why do we need art? Why do we need a soul? You know, seriously. I mean, you know, we can work and we can be very utilitarian, but at the end of the day, that's not what we do when we punch the time clock and go home. You know, we do different things that we love and appreciate, and that's really what music and art captures. So for whatever that's worth, that's what we live for.
Wei-Ling has her hand up, and then we are a few minutes over on time,
We
so I'll
are,
turn it
yeah.
back to
Thank
President
you.
Lundberg after Wei-Ling.
Hi. I just wanted to kind of respond to Ben and how we, want that forgiveness. And we do that the same way that we do with children. And, there are times when the context in the classroom is not quite right for that child. And so they may act up or they may do something. And so a lot of the times, we may take the child out and, kind of refresh and just a time away from sometimes the group or the situation. And then as soon as the child is ready to go back to the classroom, the teacher greets them with, well, hello, welcome back, and so it kind of gives them another opportunity to be again welcomed and and to be inclusive of that child. And so I also wanted to really respond to what you had said in your interview, President Lundberg, about knowing about the NAEYC accreditation. So thank you, because our center is NAEYC accredited. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And can I ask what the background picture is? That's beautiful. I love it.
Oh, it's my dream place, Santorini.
Oh, okay, great. Good. I love it. I pay attention to people's backgrounds, so.
Haven't been there yet, but will.
Very colorful. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we need to wrap up now. And Malia, is it safe to say we're going to capture that word cloud and we will find a way to distribute that?
Yes.
Good. And we are going to come back to that occasionally throughout the year as a reminder. And I'm going to take it. I'm going to ask that everybody who's in leadership roles with committees and things like that, just spend some time with this thing. And Ben, thank you for the way you said that. I've been spending time with the word justice, you said. I like that personification of something. Spend some time with us. Everybody should. And let's allow that to inform us as we move forward. We've got this theme idea out there of share the space, but that can change easily. We've got these words now and these concepts. So let's allow ourselves to be present with those, let them influence us, and we'll see where we go. The last thing that I want to say is, and there's been several comments that have made me think of this. Positivity is so important. I can't emphasize enough. Wei-Ling, I think it was you just now speaking, who said, greet people when you see them, greet them back in. It's so important. I just, not to bring personal stuff in very much, but we haven't closed the house in New York yet, which is really gumming things up here with closing a house on this side. And, in New York, they require attorneys and the system is so slow, and our attorney's been unhelpful, to put it nicely. And he was very snippy when he was responding to someone, and I called him out on it. And, he tried to reach out this morning and made it worse, frankly, and I just came away from it thinking, you know what? The guy, again, I'm going a little too far down this road maybe, but the guy had the nerve to say, I don't make enough money to do that for you. It's like, are you kidding me? So I guess what the takeaway, and the reason I'm sharing that, is what we say and how we present ourselves makes a huge difference. I can't emphasize that enough. So no matter what, I'm going back to what Marie brought up earlier, no matter what your past experience is with someone, be mindful that you have created an image of that person, and it may be right, it may be valid, it may have components of validity, it probably does, but it's not the whole person. And always be mindful of who you're talking to, and let's commit together that we're going to greet each other. Just as simple as that. We're going to be kind to each other and see how that changes the energy around the campus. So with that, I'm going to turn it back. A quick shout out to the folks who helped put the convocation together. I want to read these names and say thank you all for the work you put into this. This has been an amazing time. My word is wow. I never expected this kind of positivity and direction setting, and it's all of us that have set this in motion. So thank you. But for laying out the environment for us, Adrian Gonzalez, Steve Quiss, Joan Mize, Laura Gonzalez, Nisa Julian, Clarissa Padilla, Monica Demko, Shi Zhang, Daniel Miramontes, Marian Edelbrock, Pablo Martin, Ben Gamboa, and Malia Kuntz. Thank you all for your efforts, because this was possible because of you and your efforts. So thank you for that. And with that, Steve, you wanna
Sure.
take us home? Yep.
At least you learned a very valuable lesson not to use the Barnes firm when you're closing your house in New York. So even though they have those flashy commercials. I just want to reiterate what Wes had said. We actually got this assignment. I was looking back at my calendar to do this on August 5th. And for anyone who'd been here before, we usually have this all closed up by, wrapped up with a pretty bow by May. So we got this assignment on the 5th. Laura, Nessa, Clarissa, myself, we met with a total blank canvas, and then re-met again on Friday, which was the 7th, and then came up with this. So everybody, Pablo and everyone that came through with all their 3 breakout sessions, thank you guys so much. It's a testament of the hard work, and thanks for being ready to go on the last minute and making it look so good. Normally in years past, we have a taco truck. Unfortunately, there's no tacos this year, so hopefully maybe we can get 2 taco trucks if we do this in the spring. But thank you, everybody. Thanks, Joan, for doing the program. And it seems like we learned a lot of valuable lessons, and it's a good jumping off point for a fall semester, which I hope everybody has a terrific fall semester. And if you have any story ideas, anything you want me to pitch to the media or put in Jets News or the end of the year report, please send it all my way. Love to hear all about it. Until next time, thanks, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. And hopefully Monday we'll have a great fall semester.
Thank you.
Thanks.